Hello, welcome back to Talk About Strange. I got my second email in, and with that, I just want to remind you, please don't forget to send in your emails, write some comments, hit that like and subscribe button. We're not growing fast enough, so help me out there, would you please? We really want to grow this channel and grow it big and get a nice following and get to enjoy a lot of cool stories. I want to get out there and do some interviews with people and talk to them about some hauntings or even Bigfoot stuff or whatever, alien stuff, whatever the case may be, anything strange. I want to get out there and investigate it, talk about it, and share it back out with you guys. So get those stories sent in to me. I want to thank Becky for this story. I'm going to get you filled in on this one. Like I said, I don't want to take up too much time. I want to get on to this and share this with you. But I mean, this is really cool. But hit that like and subscribe button for me, would you please? And let's dive right into this. So first, foremost, again, this is another situation where they want to keep their privacy. And I don't blame them under the circumstances. I get it. But I'm allowed to share the story itself with you. And basically, I'll start from where she said. So, you ready? Wait for that to go by. All right. That was loud. Get ready here. Steve, my name is Becky. I'm 36 years old. I live in Florida and I'm a nurse practitioner. That's as much as I'd like to share publicly about myself. Recently, I watched your video, Bigfoot Saved My Life by Sarah. It reminded me of the stories my grandpa told us growing up. So I asked him if I could tell you about his story for your videos. He said yes, as long as I don't tell people who he is or where he lives. I understand that. He doesn't want anybody running amok on his land, his words. All I can say is he owns a lot of land in Florida that is both wooded and swampy, and he inherited from his father. My grandpa is 93. His story started when he was 12 years old. He was out exploring the woods one day when he heard something crying out. It made a sound like he'd never heard before, so he followed the cry out into the woods further than he'd ever gone before. When he reached the area, it was near the swamp, somewhere in the cattails. Somewhere in the cattails. He wasn't sure if he should go any further, so he climbed up into a tree, hoping to get a better look. He still couldn't see much, but he seen something that resembled a hand reaching up. So he climbed down and found a stick and carefully worked his way out across the cattails that had gotten knocked down. When he reached the area, he was surprised to see what looked like a monkey being dragged out to the swamp by a big snake, probably a python. So he started beating the snake until the stick broke, but it still didn't let go. He remembered he had a pocket knife, so he took it out and used it to stab the snake in the head several times until it finally let loose. By that time, what he thought was a monkey was almost completely limp. Its face was covered in foamy spit, sweat, and weeds. As he unwrapped the snake from its legs, he started to notice it looked more human than monkey when it was almost as big as him. He drug it back up from the swamp just in case there was any more snakes or alligators nearby. As he was cleaning the weeds off from its face, it looked more and more like a hairy boy than a monkey. Then he heard a loud, strange animal calling out in the near distance. The monkey-like boy popped up and shoved my grandpa back on his butt and took off running towards the sound, only stopping for a moment to look back at Grandpa. Then it disappeared in the woods. Grandpa ran all the way back home, told his father about what happened. He said, first, I got in trouble for going out in those woods alone, so far in those woods alone. Then later his father told him that he already knew about them and seen them out there while he was hunting. He left them alone and they left him alone. He told Grandpa to leave them be and to not tell anyone about them. Over the years, my grandpa said he sent the monkey boy, seen seen the monkey boy off in the distance, sometimes when he was out hunting, sometimes in the backyard behind the trees and shrubs. He said he quickly outgrew my grandpa, but never seemed aggressive, just curious. My grandpa eventually joined the Army, then got married and had his own family. He didn't get back home much over the years, other than normal visits, until my great-grandpa passed away. My grandpa inherited the homestead, and so he moved his family back home. He said he looked for his wilderness friend to show up. And was starting to think maybe he had grown up and moved on as well, but soon found out he was wrong. My grandpa loved his garden, but had an awful time with the wild pigs breaking through the fence and eating his plants. One day the pigs were in the backyard, so he went inside to get his gun. When he walked back out, to his surprise, his very big friend was reaching over the garden fence and grabbed the wild pig by the neck and lifted it up out of the garden like a toy and snapped the pig's neck. Woo! He looked back at my grandpa for a second and then walked back into the woods. Grandpa said this happened several times through the years. I remember once when I was a little girl, 7 or 8 years old, I seen his big furry friend just once, way back by the woods. He was huge. I can't say exactly how big, but he was bigger than any man I'd ever seen. His hair was long, mostly gray with black undertones. He looked at me, sniffed the air, then slowly turned and walked back into the woods. I always hoped to see him again, but never did. I asked my grandpa yesterday when I talked to him about this, if he still comes around. I could see the question bothered him. He said the last time he seen his old friend was almost 2 years ago. He said he was sitting way out in the backyard close to the woods. He looked very thin and kind of sickly. My grandpa was sitting on the back porch. They both sat for quite a while. Just two old men sitting together for what turned out to be the last time. Grandpa said Grandpa said it. After a while, his old friend got up real slow and walked off for the last time. He hasn't seen him since. Not long after that, the pigs took over the garden again, so he stopped planting and let them have it. I kind of think Grandpa's looking forward to seeing his old friend again someday. I hope. Hopefully not soon, too soon. Anyway, that's our story. No, it's not wild and crazy. But I hope people will see there are more of these creatures than what you hear about all the time. And I think Sarah's lucky to have found out firsthand for herself. Yours truly, Becky. Wow. Well, thank you for that, Becky. That's a great story. Wow, touching. You're right. You don't hear stuff like that very often, I guess. Kind of got to me for a minute there, but you got to wonder, right? I mean, I keep saying I'm no expert on this stuff, but I want to learn more. I want to find out more. I want to investigate this kind of stuff. Any kind of, you hear a story like that, you hear horror stories, you hear, quite frankly, stupid stories, I guess, sometimes. And then you hear touching stories. I mean, you just, you don't know. Maybe someday hopefully you'll find out or something, or somebody will be able to find out about that, more about that. But anyway, I just want to say thanks for sharing that story with us, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And send me your stories. If you got a story, send them in. Ghost stories, alien stories, Bigfoot stories, whatever you got. I noticed Becky, you never said Bigfoot in here. And I hope you don't mind me using that term, but I mean, I've heard Bigfoot, Sasquatch. You said you're in Florida, skunk ape. I don't know how long ago this was, but I know that was a term they used, I think, in Florida or something I've heard. So anyway, interesting. Like and subscribe. I'll be back. We got a lot more to come. I'm going to be doing some kind of campfire tales here coming up. I want more stories to read, and I got some more stories of my own to tell. So stick in there. We'll see you again soon.